On today's Snapshot, we're taking a closer look at the Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools, how it's teaming up with the school district to support families, and its new initiative to boost learning before kids get to kindergarten. Plus, the likenesses are uncanny, how beginning art students go from a blank page to a complete self-portrait, and what they're learning about themselves along the way. Welcome to Snapshot. I'm your host, Elena Buller. It's the mission of Vancouver Public Schools to prepare every child for college, careers, and life. But it's a two-way street. Kids need support from home to succeed, and not all families are able to provide it. And that's where the Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools steps in. Joining me now to talk about the work it does and its exciting plan for next year are Tara Taylor and Jan Redding, the Executive Director and Assistant Director of the Foundation. Ladies, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us, Elena.
Poverty levels in Vancouver, I mean, probably like everywhere, are on the rise. How are you guys working to remedy that, I guess?
Well, I think first of all, a couple of things. We are expanding the programs. So, for example, we now offer things like athletic and activity fees, which we didn't previously because more kids are not able to participate in programs due to higher levels of poverty. We broker more services, and I mean by broker, I mean Jan's on the front lines every day, working with local care providers, medical and dental, to make sure that kids are getting the services that they need. Would you like to?
The Foundation steps in and provides the resources that the school district cannot. So we work one-on-one with staff from all the schools as they detect a need that a student comes to school with.
Okay, Tara, you've been with the Foundation for about 2 years,
yes.
Is that correct? You guys are kind of, we talked about kind of refocusing
right.
The focus, I guess, of
right.
the Foundation. What are you guys kind of, how are you refining?
Well, because resources are more scarce, both for the school district and for more families that have limited means, we have to look at our work with greater intent. The difference being what used to be nice to do versus what do we need to do. We look more carefully on what's going to have the biggest benefit for children. So for example, with the Early Learning Initiative, that's one initiative, that's a new program for the Foundation. And we worked very carefully with the district, and you can see that by putting resources in a pre-kindergarten program, just simple 20 days before they enter kindergarten, that type of program pays rewards all the way along that will help children in 2nd, 3rd, 6th grade all the way on up. So it's a deliberate focus on what's going to have the greatest impact for kids.
The Foundation was founded in 1988 with the purpose of providing basic needs for kids. And ever since then, we have provided more materialistic things, more tangible items that helps kids. But we really refocused our efforts on what we could provide that would have an even greater, longer lasting effect for our students.
As the cost of daycare goes up, it's difficult for families, especially families in poverty, to afford high-quality daycare.
Well, and more families are kind of finding themselves in that situation right
and
now.
You add to that there's no standard across daycare providers. So you have, here's the standard that the schools would like children to be at when they enter kindergarten, but but what they're taught in preschool varies. So this Early Learning Initiative is an attempt to not just level the playing field, but children come in at all different levels of knowledge when they enter.
Right.
And so we want to help them get get a jump start on kindergarten, because the data shows that discrepancy only grows as they go along in school, which is sad and a little bit frightening if you think of small child who's at a disadvantage in kindergarten is more likely to be at a disadvantage later on in their school career.
It could possibly just get worse, and so you kind of want to nip it in the bud.
So we looked at this can have greater impact and will have a longer term impact. Not that we'll step away from our basic work and mentoring and enrichment, but this is something that will continue to have a positive impact for kids.
Right. Jan, you worked really hard on the luncheon every year, and that's a big deal, and it just keeps getting bigger. Can you tell us a little bit about the luncheon and you know, what that does for the foundation?
Sure. This was our 9th year of our luncheon. Prior to that, it wasn't a fundraising event. It was a volunteer recognition, and we changed our format into a fundraising luncheon and have had continued success ever since. It continues to grow in size and scope. This year we had a record number of guests attend. We were up to 520.
Wow.
And I think we have presence in the community now. People look forward to coming to our events, and we always create an element of surprise. So it's a fun event to attend.
Speaking of surprise, we actually have video from this year's luncheon, and you guys had quite a number planned. I think we can take a look at some of the video and have you guys tell me what exactly you did this year that was so exciting.
Student rock! Yeah!
So this is our 2nd year that we created a flash mob. This year, with the generosity of Dick Hanakia, we used the Party Rock Anthem as our theme song, and we actually had the Kia hamster in attendance. You saw him just a minute ago in the start of the clip. We had students from 4 schools participate, about 120 kids that just entered the room at a given moment, and it brought the house down. What was really unique about the experience is all 120 kids practiced independently of one another at 4 different sites, and it wasn't until the night before that all the performers came together and actually had time to pull the whole show together.
So that was just once?
Yes.
Right.
One time.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. And did some of the board members dance too?
Yes, I just want to interject here that was Jan's brainchild to get the board members in on the dancing, and we even had dance rehearsals for the board members, so they surprised themselves that they could get up and sing and dance with the kids.
Both foundation and school board members participated.
Yeah. And we actually have video too of the rehearsals. I mean, this was a big deal. You guys, can you tell me again how many different schools were involved?
There were 4 schools involved. There's students from 4 schools. At one school, we engaged 4 different dance classes, so not even the students who attended the same school practiced together. It was all done within the period of a 40-minute class time. So it took a lot of synchronization to teach all these kids independently and then to bring them all together, and everyone had their own key components.
And you even had the hamster.
We did. We did.
The hamster. Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Fun.
Yeah.
The Hilton was very generous in providing a lot of technical assistance to us. Obviously, it took a lot for the car to appear, lighting, staging. There was a lot of theatrics involved.
It looks
quite
like
the production.
Yeah. Right, and it turned just complete success.
Yeah, it was.
Well, you know, and not only were there students dancing, the students also cooked all the food at the luncheon. So the theme was Share Some Soul. So the Culinary Arts program at Fort Vancouver put together some soul food for the menu for the luncheon, sort of the carry the theme all the way through. I just wish I could get them to come cook at my house because it was just wonderful.
That's great. That's great. So what was the final tally of this year's fundraiser? Do you guys have those numbers yet?
Yes, we raised about $122,000. We still have money trickling in, but yes, so it was our best fundraiser
to date.
To date,
Oh,
so
wow.
we're thrilled.
Congratulations.
We're thrilled.
Not bad for an hour and a half.
No, right, 122. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 122,000.
Okay.
And when you get down to it, you probably have them for about an hour by the time everyone gets their lunch, and sit down, and the program starts at noon, and then you're off and running.
So how is that money going to help kind of further your agenda for this year, especially the refocusing and early?
The luncheon revenues primarily are for our core programs in basic needs, enrichment, and mentoring. So in basic needs, we fund a principal's checkbook at each of the 35 schools. We help with medical and dental care, vision, hearing. We do clothing, athletic and activity fees. We provide enrichment grants for school-wide enrichment grants, and then lunch buddies. So the luncheon revenue really goes to support that core, those core programs. We also use the luncheon as an opportunity to talk about our early learning work.
Okay, and so how are you going to be able to steer any of that money to the early learning, or how are you going to raise money for that?
We are starting a campaign for early learning. It's an early learning initiative, and we are just starting that campaign. The $100,000 that was presented was from the foundation. That's money that we have held and we have raised previously, and we made that gift to the district, and we will be out fundraising so that that work will continue.
All right, well, ladies, thank you very much, and thanks for being here, and I enjoyed the show, and good luck next year.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. If you'd like to find out more about the foundation and the work it does, head to the website. It's www.foundationforvps.org. You can see more about the work the foundation does, and there's also contact information in case you want to help out. If you'd rather use the phone, call the number on your screen, 360-313-4730. We see stories all the time about big events at schools, but what doesn't get a lot of attention is the everyday work that teachers do, the little things that make a real difference for kids. In our Snapshot profile, we meet a teacher who's showing kids how to draw and how to see themselves in a new way.
Paintings and prints.
Art teacher Caitlin Lash is all about success. In this class period at McLaughlin Middle School, success comes in the form of self-portraits, painstakingly produced in a series of steps.
It's pretty complicated.
Students take pictures of themselves, and Ms. Lash puts a graph over the prints. Then, students reproduce what's inside each tiny box. All of those tiny boxes add up to a full-size portrait.
If I had asked them to draw that, they probably would have said, I can't do it. But once they see it on the paper and they've drawn it, their confidence grows.
For fledgling artists, getting past the first hurdle, that uncertainty, is key.
It's really awesome because for some of them it's the first time that they really see realistically how to draw.
Once they've tasted a little of that success, students want to taste it again.
I like being able to create something that's on my own.
It puts me in this zone that it's like I'm in my own little world.
And even though this is just one class in a busy day's schedule, Ms. Lash believes it can have a ripple effect.
Having something that they feel successful with, that feeling of success, makes them more willing to engage in something that they might not think they'll be successful in. And, you know, be it math, science, you know, sports, anything. If they're willing to try and practice, it's the same formula.
Students notice how much faith Ms. Lash has in them.
I love Ms. Lash. She's my favorite teacher, mainly because she's really kind and she's very patient with you, so if you mess up, she'll help you. And she's just she's good to talk to for really anything. She's a good teacher.
She's a really good teacher. If I had a choice, I would have Miss Lash again.
Middle school is a time of self-discovery, somewhere between adolescence and adulthood. Like the self-portraits, many of Ms. Lash's art students are starting with a blank page. Figuring out how to get from there to a fully realized image of yourself can be daunting. But with guidance, these students are making their way. Every perfectly rendered tiny square, each little success adds up. And now, after a lot of hard work, students can truly see themselves in a way they never knew possible.
It's just the most amazing moment when the kids see themselves reflected back in the paper. You know, for them, they turn from not feeling like they're an artist to walking tall and really feeling like an artist.
Thanks again to Caitlin Lash for letting us in her classroom, and we are just about out of time for today. Remember, you can see past episodes of our show on our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/VanSDTV. We want to thank Tara Taylor and Jan Redding for joining us today, and you for watching. Until next time, I'm Elena Buller.